Good morning. Welcome to the Community Review on Hot 92.3. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. What an amazing, amazing gentleman that I have here with me. His new CD is called Paint the Rhythm. But let's talk about painting the rhythm of his life, who he is, where he's been, where he's come from, and how he got to be painting the rhythm of life the way he paints it today. Buenos dias. Good morning, Louie.
It's so nice to be here.
So wonderful to have you here.
Josefa, I'm doing good. I just so grateful to wake up this morning.
Oh, I know. I tell people that all the time. They say, how are you doing? I say, fabulous.
Yeah,
I woke
there
up.
you go.
I woke up. I'm so excited.
No, I'm excited to be here. This is wonderful. And first time I've ever met you, and but I've heard so much about you too, and it's nice to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And well, of course, I know all about you. But let's talk a little bit about some things people might not know about you. Let's wind back the hands of time a little bit.
Okay.
And let's look at where you grew up and where you come from. Who is Louie Cruz Beltran?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of chapters to this guy. However, I was born and raised in Bakersfield and also in Fresno, right in the valley where it's really hot out there, and it gets really cool in the winter. So it's hot and cold, nothing in between, really. So that's the environment the climate that I was raised in, and it's a small community, Bakersfield, although the town is growing. You know, I live there, but I'm a professional commuter. I come to Los Angeles and I stay here with my brother. And I work a lot here, so I spend a lot of time in Los Angeles. But I go back and visit my mother, whom I love very much, and I have 8 brothers and 2 sisters. That's the most important part of who I am is my family, you know, my loved ones. My mother is 92 years old.
Wow.
She was
we should
born,
all be so lucky, huh?
She was born July 4th. I just love her very much, and she is probably my most influential mentor of all people on earth. And so that's basically my background in terms of where I come from.
Talk to me about growing up in Bakersfield. When you look back at growing up in Bakersfield then, and when you go home to Bakersfield now, how has Central California changed, or has it?
Well, actually, I think it's changed in the sense that there's a little more media about my town, my hometown, Bakersfield. There's a little more awareness. It's a big agricultural center, a lot of oil. In fact, there's a little community just on the outskirts, the northern part of Bakersfield, called Oildale. You know, the community it's quite diversified. You say the word Bakersfield, and a lot of people, when I come to Los Angeles or throughout the world, they respond to, "Oh, Bakersfield, that's where Buck Owens is from, and Merle Haggard." And it's a very strong. They call it the Nashville West.
Really?
Yes, because it's very strong.
Okay.
A very strong. Country western, and I love that music too. I was raised around it, and a lot of my friends and associates, were musicians and played that kind of music. Actually, I could have been much more employed had I taken the
went the country route.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're playing salsa, Latin jazz in Bakersfield. It's hard to make a living. But it's a very diversified. My community was a very unique and very strong barrio, colonia, and. It's there that I met a lot of fabulous people, wonderful people, a lot of talented people. The schools that I went to, my beginning experiences in school were somewhat negative. I hate to say that.
Tell me about that.
Well, when you're a young man, everything's cool at home. You got mom, tortillas, and the I Love Lucy show, and
the TV, yeah, mom, tortillas, and TV,
and the radio going on, and a lot of brothers and sisters. But once you step outside that front door, you become aware that there's a different view of who you are. I was just very, very involved in trying to become validated in my school. But I found out that the hard way, that when there were notices sent around that they didn't want us speaking Spanish, and that was a very strong jolt. To what's wrong with me? Why is this language that I hear at home and that I speak also?
It's a problem.
Why is it a problem? Why are these people that are teaching me, principals and teachers and faculty, why are they sending this note around as though there's something wrong with this? It had quite an effect on me, because then I began realizing that I was different, and I think that created a sense of inferiority. I had a complejo, something's wrong here. I felt like a second-class citizen. And these feelings for a young man, for a child, sometimes they stick around for a long time because it's like a clean canvas, and this is the kind of paint that they're putting on, and they're painting you in this fashion. You're seeing yourself back in that way. But I think that because of that, there was also in this negative introduction of my childhood outside of my home, because my home was very positive and very beautiful, was that the negativity that I experienced, I think also pushed me in some way. Because my second, third grade teacher heard me singing. My mother sings like a bird. It's beautiful, and she taught me harmonies. We sang in church, and she took note to it, and she called me over and asked me to lead the class in the morning song, the Star Spangled Banner, and God Bless America, and I did it. And the response that I got, and the feeling that I got through the arts actually emancipated me from the complex that was very, very much overwhelming to me. And so that started a whole new concept for me, that by way of singing, playing music, getting into the arts, I became accepted, and that I could use that as a vehicle to make it through this very, tumultuous life, that I was starting to feel as a young boy. And so I thank God for a wonderful mother, wonderful families, very supportive, and I really, really thank God for the arts, and for
a teacher who recognized that there was something there, and said, There
was two of them actually. The first teacher wanted me to sing, which I did. Second, the other I had a little problem was that because I loved Afro-Cuban music as a young boy, cumbias and salsa and cha-cha-chas, Sonora Santanera, Rey Barreto, Tito Puente, all of these. My mother used to play this music. She had that famous radio, we used to say, and while she's making tortillas, she's listening to every station you can imagine.
Right.
Very eclectic mother. I was in class, and I was tapping on my desk a rhythm, and I was told over and over to stop, and of course I didn't heed that, one ear out the other, and then before I knew it, I'm set outside in the hallway, and I have to sit out there, during the duration of the class as punishment.
Spent a few days out in the hall myself.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm out there, but again, here comes this teacher walking down the hall there, and he's our coach, our PE coach. He says, "Louie, what are you doing out here? I've seen you out here quite a bit." He says, "Man, what are you doing wrong?" And I said, "I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just, playing a little, ritmo on my drum, and I mean on this desk, like if it's a drum, and sometimes I just forget. It's just a habit." And so this teacher took this negative impulse that I had, and this I guess it was a disturbance to the class, but I didn't, and he said, "Well, we have to channel that particular part of you that says you want to drum." And he got me involved in the school drum cadence group. And 2 days later, I'm walking home with this snare drum strapped around me, and I'm playing at home and practicing and involved with the school drum academy.
Wow!
And so, you get this situation where you find in this world of ours that there are negatives and teachers, great teachers, that respond to them and look at them and they don't ignore it. They find a creative way in how to channel it, and those are far and few, and we need more of them.
Yes.
I have always been my opinion that I wish teachers would take an acting course, or they would take courses that deal with how do you actually rechannel some of the behaviors. And I think the arts have a lot to teach our teachers. It really does. It's definitely saved me.
Wow, what a beautiful expression of what can happen when a teacher recognizes. I mean, one teacher may have looked at you and called it disruptive. Another, well, he did. Whatever that teacher did. They threw you out of the class.
That's right.
But the teacher walking down the hall said, you're disruptive because you're making music, pounding on the... Yeah. Maybe you need to be in the drum corps.
That's right.
So, thank goodness for that, and kudos to teachers who recognize situations like that. When a child is misbehaving in a way, it's not like they're not like socking somebody up in class, but you're making music, but it is being disruptive to everybody else. So what do we do with this child? Get him involved in the music in the school. You got somebody who's tagging, but they're tagging beautifully. Let's get them in art class. Put a paintbrush in their hand and teach them how to paint. There's so many things, and so thank goodness that in your educational experience, you you've had some negatives that got turned into positive, and look at the amazing career that it turned into. So now we know a little bit about your elementary school experience and junior high school experience.
Right.
Let's talk about your getting through high school.
High school was tough. High school was really tough for me. You know, growing up in the barrio, it's not a stereotype. There are conditions where you have to kind of prove yourself, and you have to. Let's remember that I mentioned I had 8 brothers and 2 sisters, so I had a lot of younger brothers. I had older brothers, but the younger ones I had to protect, because at times, you know, they would get in trouble, and I'd find myself, you know, in a lot of fights. My mother used to say that she has never used so much hilo, you know, the thread, because she had to re-sew up all of my buttons from my shirts from them being torn off in fights and so forth. You know, so those were experiences that I had growing up in high school, and I was kicked out of high school. I had to go to continuation, which was a really big eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting next to, you know, 2 women, 2 young students that are pregnant, and this guy over here next to me just got out of juvenile, and I'm saying to myself, Louie, your mom, she didn't raise you like this to be here. She raised you to be somewhere else, somewhere where you're going to get a good education, and you're going to find yourself in a place where you can do positive things. And I've always felt this sense of the voice of my mother, you know, and my older brothers, you know, keep on the straight and narrow, you know, don't waver. And so all of this mentorship and this guidance, you know, there's a saying that says, teach them in their youth, and that way when they get older, it won't part from them, you know, it'll stay with them. So, yeah, I was a tree that was kind of, you know, going to the left, you know.
Kind of leaning,
but
leaning this way and leaning that way.
Yeah, but family and great, you know, advice from everyone and the people in the community and teachers. Some of them, you know, they put that, you know, those 2 stakes, you know, and keep the tree braced straight. But, you know, we found a way to work with Louie.
So what?
Yeah.
So what'd your mom say when you're in this continuation school and she's looking at her son who she knows is talented?
You mean after the beating? Or,
right.
You know, and the thing about my beatings that they were bilingual beatings.
Right. You got beat in Spanish and English.
Yeah. Oh, man.
No, I know that's got to be. And I know that there's so many mothers out there listening that are frustrated because their son or daughter are just doing things, and you're like, what am I going to do with this
Just
child?
don't give up. Don't give up. You know, parents that might be listening to this and young mothers, you know, don't give up. Don't feel like, you know, you're going to grow up to be this mother that your child's going to hate because you disciplined them. Look, there were times when my mother literally had to discipline me physically with a belt, okay? And whatever she could get a hold of. And I'm not, you know,
advocating
this kind of thing, but in the day,
I had a frying pan or a tennis racket on my behind a few times too. Whatever she could grab, that's what I got.
That's right. Anyway, whatever she could do to keep us straight, and there were times when I would go to my room feeling just so frustrated and upset with my mother. But when it's all done and said, and the dust clears, you know, the smoke clears, and you look at your life as you're a young man, it played out to do a good thing for me, because that then turns in your maturity turns into the greatest and most profound love and appreciation for what they did, because now you are in a place of responsibility, and then you say, now I understand.
Now I get it.
See, so for young mothers and parents and older brothers and so forth that are disciplining, counselors, teachers are disciplining children or young adults, you know, keep in mind that don't back off of the good words of encouragement. Don't back off because you see that they fall again. Just continue to do and contribute your part, and it'll flourish somewhere down the road.
Right.
And hopefully it'll catch. You know, the good seed that you plant into a person, if it's good soil, and it'll take. And you just have to be a good farmer of life, you know.
A good farmer
Cultivate,
of life. There you go.
You know.
There you go. Well, clearly, Mom's seed that she planted has done very well, you know. So now you're through high school, and What made you decide to finally say, you know what, this music thing, I kind of like it?
Yeah, that was really something. I think my first experience in actually saying to myself, I'm going to be a musician. I am going to play music. I'm going to pick up these conga drums, which I love very much since I started on bongos when I was a young boy, and guitar. And I decided that I was going to be a musician. And I remember when my mother and my father were sitting there and they said, well, you want to be a musician? Okay, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And my brother Robert wanted to be an actor, which he is a great actor. You know, Robert Beltran, who was very good and very well known in his trade. Well, if you want to do that, then you're going to have to do it the way we feel is going to be best for you so that you can be successful in this field, which is so crazy. You're going to dance, sing, but you're going to sing in harmony. And my mother would teach us harmony, first, second, and third harmony, which I cannot tell you how important that was for me when it came to, you know, having to compose a horn section, the idea of harmony and how it played out in that, and it helped me so much. Wow. I mean, it was like this multifaceted piece of information and guidance that they gave me that really helped me. And I dance. I did folklorista dancing, you know, and had to learn how to choreograph, be part of that choreography, and you know, all that takes a discipline. And I did some acting also, but all of that played a very nice part of the root of entertainment, which is my conga. The conga drum and the music has these beautiful branches that go out in acting, because you have to stand in front of people and deliver. You have to memorize your lines. You know, it's something that demands a certain control, you know, of your environment. Immediately, you're on stage, you go out there and you perform. So all of these little facets play a big part in the toolbox of my entertainment. Mm-hmm. When I need this, I pull it out. When I need that, I do this. I was just recently in the studio, and I'm going back again very soon to complete my CD, Paint the Rhythm. And at times I had to do two of the harmonies, you know, and I couldn't get somebody there that day. So you know what? I'll do it myself. So I have myself doing a first and a third, and someone else, my brother Robert, also sang choros with me, and this other gentleman by the name of Otro Guy, and he's great. And it was just a wonderful experience, but it helps. It helped me because it was economically advantageous to me to be able to do these things myself.
Right. So at what point did you decide to go into music?
What I did was that I went on to school. I went to Bakersfield City College, and then I went to Cal State. I received my Bachelor of Arts, and I became probation officer.
I used to be a juvenile probation officer.
How, you know.
There we go. Yep.
And it was a wonderful job. And I was moonlighting music. But the opportunity came one day when this particular gentleman, Luke Montoya, who's a conga player, and he was seeing my ex-girlfriend in Bakersfield, which she met him in Canada. He was in town, and she calls me and says, Louie, man, I got this conga player. You know, ever heard of Sergio Mendez? I said, shut up. Yeah, of course I have. And so, make a long story short, I met him. We came together, met and shared our stories about, you know, percussion. And he turned me on to a gig, if I wanted it, to go on tour, because he wasn't going to be able to go. And I went on a tour. I took the tour. I actually left my job.
Wow.
And I said to myself, this is not going to be an opportunity that can come by as nice as this. All of Europe, Africa, Scandinavia, La República Dominicana, Puerto Rico, New York, wow, Florida, Atlanta, all of California. It was a year and a half tour, okay? Sometimes you get what you wish for, and I thought I was in the military. You know, that's how long I was gone.
Right.
But I went on this tour by way of Mavericks Flat, the owner, John Daniels.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is my old stomping grounds. Right. You know, Crenshaw. I stayed out there.
Mavericks Flat has so much history.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, you go in there sometime. Go in and visit those guys because they're open again, and they have all the memorabilia. And I'm proud to say that they have my picture up there along with the group that I was playing with and touring with. And so that was a big change. And I think after that, I never really went back into working with the kids again, you know, with the juvenile and as a probation officer. But I do a lot of work with young kids in target areas out in South Central, in East LA. And I go with my music to encourage discipline and education by way of the arts being the eye-opener, or the way that their ears were open through music, and then you clandestinely kind of like...
Right.
You're
plant
preaching,
some other seeds.
Yeah, there you go. And so that's one of my joys. And so I've coupled both of them. The experience of working with probation department and juvenile hall allowed me the experience to counsel and then use it with my music. And so it's worked out very well.
And your music is very counseling. There's a couple of songs, especially the cut number 3, Esperando.
Oh,
it's an instrumental that I'm telling you, people, when you get this CD, go right to that cut. Put yourself out there with a glass of whatever it is that you like, whether it's a nice cold glass of water,
Kool-Aid,
nice Pinot Noir, whatever it is that you want to. It's one of those songs, and one thing that I can really tell someone who truly is passionate about music, when they've written an instrumental, they play an instrumental, and it speaks words without words.
Absolutely.
And that song has words without there being one single word in it. It speaks to you.
It does unifying so uniquely and so beautifully that politicians cannot do.
Right.
I just give all kudos and all respect to la música, que viva la música.
Well, you say you don't like to get involved in politics per se, but you did kind of, in a roundabout way, were involved when you did some work with Cesar Chavez.
Yeah, I didn't look at Cesar Chavez as a concept of politics, to be honest with you. I looked at it as a concept of humanity. I worked in the fields. My brothers and I and my sisters, we all worked in the San Joaquin Valley and throughout Kern County and Fresno. I picked a lot of grapes. And in the summers, my mother used to make sure that we went to work. My dad was also a contractor. My mother was a contractor. The tomato machines and the swathers and all these various, like, as I mentioned earlier, Kern County is a big agricultural, bed. And so we had summers to go out and work for our new Levi's and clothes. Mom made sure, you guys want this, you want that, vámonos a trabajar. So that was a story for us. So working in the fields, I experienced the most gruesome conditions. You're working, it's 112, 117. Crop dusters are coming over and dropping, pesticides on the workers. There's no water. You have to walk like practically a mile to get to the truck to get water. There's no outhouses, one for the whole field. And so Cesar Chavez, to me, represented not a political thing. It wasn't political. It was a human thing. It was recognizing the suffering of human beings in a country that has such a diversified view of what this whole thing is with immigration and so forth, and it gets really, really crazy.
How did you get involved with him?
I got involved with the Brown Berets when I was a young college. Okay. I was in the Brown Berets. We started the chapter in Bakersfield, California, which was a great experience for me, really, because it educated me about my culture, and that was during the era in which the Chicano movement was strong in the 60s and 70s, and they brought in, history for Hispanics about our contributions to America, which we hadn't had other than Cisco Kid and Zorro, But the thing is that this era and time was a time where we were coming. The sleeping giant was waking and saying, if we're going to wake up, we have to wake up to education and to give some positive reinforcement to our Hispanic students and children, so they can have a positive view. After all those times that I've been told you don't speak Spanish in school, that became kind of the counter concept, was that let's not let this happen, and if it is happening, let's tell our kids really what the story is, and let's give them the information about our history. So the Chicano movement was strong. I got involved with the Brown Beret, and Cesar Chavez and Rodolfo Corky Gonzalez from New Mexico came to do a speech and a rally, and they had asked us to bodyguard them because there were threats against their lives. So I was, for the duration of 2 weeks on various conventions, and I was assigned to watch Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Chavez.
Wow. What a piece of history you got to share.
I put my life in for them. That's how strongly I believe what I was going through at that time.
Paint the Rhythm is the upcoming CD by Louie Cruz Beltran. So now I want to play a little bit of another cut, one of my favorites on there, Chile Caliente.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Chile caliente. Just the way I like it. Beautiful CD. I've heard several of the tracks. Is there a website that we can go to for more information? A Facebook page, Twitter?
Yes,
all those kinds of things.
All of those things. You can go to louiecruzbeltran.com and also to cornisheentertainment.com and also to painttherhythm.com.
Very good. I'm sure they could probably hear some little snippets there and get an idea
Oh,
of
yeah.
the CD.
Yeah, we definitely
And
got
I'm
it.
sure it'll be up on iTunes before you know it. You can buy it on iTunes and then have it on your iPad and your iTouch and your iThis and your iThat and take it everywhere with you.
Oh,
Definitely.
Sept, you're great. I love being here today. Thank you.
Well, you know, it has been such a pleasure having you here. Profiles in Life and Success is a series that I created and am very proud of it because during Hispanic Heritage Month, during African American Heritage Month, during Women's History Month, I make sure I profile people that I feel very strongly about. And when when someone told me, hey, why don't you interview Louie? I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please.
Thank you.
Please,
Thank you.
let's bring him here and let's let the people learn. And today, what amazing history you were able to share with us today about your time with Cesar, about your life growing up, how you were probably one of those little knuckleheads in school
Yeah,
that made the
you're right.
teacher go home and say, oh my God, you wouldn't believe this kid I have in my class. But look what you turned out
Yeah.
to be because somebody took the time to believe in you.
That's right. That's right. You're
And then who
absolutely
knew
right.
that you and I walked so many of the same paths? We were both juvenile probation officers.
See what I mean?
See? It was meant to be.
Yes, it was.
It was meant to be. Well, congratulations. The CD is called Paint the Rhythm. You heard a little bit of it here today. And thank you so much for being such an amazing profile in life and success.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you.
Don't go away. There's some fantastic things coming up on Hot 92.3.